Good morning. It's Monday the 23rd of September and this is a video on the first Monday training run, which will be part of Vjog 16 I think. Now, last week's training summary, nobody wants to tune into a running website and find somebody talking over a load of spreadsheets, do they? But I felt I needed to just show a little bit of organisation and structure and how detailed I get, because it is quite important for me anyway to get things really clearly written down, know why I'm doing it, I can see the long-term picture, and then all I've got to do is get out and do it. So on that point, it's absolutely, let's say, pouring down with rain on this Monday morning, and I've still managed to keep myself out of bed and get out for a morning run, which historically I'm really not a morning runner, but I did 4 last week, so I'm really happy with myself. And I think having a plan and a big goal is really important, certainly for me. When I'm just training for regular stuff, I can easily let the runs go and then I can pick it up another time. But when I've got such a huge goal, every day is important, and it's really motivating me at the moment, even though of course it's only week 2, long way to go. So this week I thought I'd do little films of the runs from a weekly summary rather than the spreadsheets. So today is my 3 miler because I've got track in the evening, just nice and easy, and I've got a lovely little flitchway circuit, no elevation. This is Essex, you know, but it is trail and I do get some morning miles in. So not much else to say about this one. I'll record a little bit of track later on. So if you ever want to find me on a Monday night, this is where I'll be, Braintree track. Now they haven't turned the spotlights on yet, and so it's going to be a bit dim, although it looks bright in the screen, which is good. So every Monday, track intervals, which I'm going to continue for the next year, really from the point of view of keeping leg speed, so that when we get flat sections or runnable sections in the mountain races, I'll be able to hopefully make up a bit of time that I'll have probably lost coming down descents quite clumsy. So there you go. So tonight's session is a endurance based session with a little sting on each rep. So we're going to do a 10-minute tempo, then we're going to have 30 seconds recovery, and we're going to run 400 meters pretty much as hard as we can. Bear in mind we just done a 10-minute tempo. Then we'll have 3 minutes rest and we'll repeat, but the second one will be an 8-minute tempo, 30 seconds rest, 400, 3 minutes rest again, and then the last one will be 6-minute tempo, 30 seconds rest, 400 meters. So the idea is it's very endurance based with the tempos, but it's making you run a good strong 400 off tired legs, which gives you a bit of mental agility too. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully the group will be too when they start arriving. I always try and get a 3-mile warm up in and add some extra mileage, plus I feel a lot better having done such a long warm up as well. So I'll sign off. You don't want to watch me running around warming up for the next 25 minutes. Here we are on run number 3 of this week, which is Tuesday afternoon. It's a recovery run in keeping the heart rate under 140 beats a minute, which for me is based on my max heart rate of 180, zone 2. Now basically through the week, as I've said already, I'm keeping up the intervals, and that's on a Monday and a Thursday, and eventually I'll introduce a tempo as well, but they are the only times that I'll go for it and really put in a hard effort. all the other runs, which eventually will be about between 80 and then rising to 90% of my training load, will be, yeah, pretty much run and record videos sort of pace. I'm on 135 beats a minute at the moment, so I've got to keep an eye on it because I'm a little bit tired from yesterday's track session. So if I don't keep an eye on it, it could easily creep over. There we are. No sooner did I say it, the heart rate crept into 142. So I've notched it right back down to 135. But that is meaning I've got to stay outside 10-minute miling, which takes a little bit of concentration sometimes for a miler. Anyway, on this run, I'd like to have a shout out to all of the Dragon's Back training widows or widowers. Basically, when I went on the volunteering week, I came home and it really dawned on me what a lifestyle change this whole calendar year is going to be with regards to just how I mean, basically for me it's just almost all about occupying your thoughts with Dragon's Back training and when you're going to do your recce runs, how many events do you need to enter in prep. And I'll give you an example. Jenny, my wife, has been incredibly understanding, but I don't think she wants me to make a habit of multi-day ultras, so I think this will be my only venture into that territory. But one of the recce weekends that Raw Adventures do is, believe it or not, over Easter weekend up in Wales in April, and it's the only one until August where they take in Vjog and Trifan. Now I don't want to leave it till August. I want to have been over there with a bit of guidance long before, so I had to book myself in for the April one. So big shout out for certainly my good lady wife Jenny being so understanding, but I'm sure it's the case for the partners of anybody who's taken on this sort of challenge. It's in a way it's quite selfish of me to commit to something like this, but I don't know, feels like it's something I'm meant to be doing. Now I'm very lucky where I live because it's pretty much as soon as I leave my doorstep, within about 250 metres I'm into countryside, and that basically presents itself, no excuses whatsoever. Now what I've done, I've come, this is about 2 miles away from the house, and it's 1.5 miles around this nature reserve, but I've come here because it's probably one of the few places you can get trail in with a half decent bit of climbing. Obviously we're talking Essex, don't forget, so we are actually talking probably over about 3/4 of a mile. I can get just over 110 feet in, but it's enough of a little elevation to mix it up a little bit. But I'm having to walk now because the heart rate went north of 148. I told you I was tired after the track last night, so the only way to get it come down again was to walk a bit. So down to 115 so we can get going again now. Well, it took a lot of walking breaks, but I did manage to keep in zone 2 for 89.1% of the run, which is probably a new record. Good morning. I've had to wait 28 minutes into this run before it was daylight enough to actually film. That's how early I set off this morning. Also that 3 miles allowed me to get all my grumpiness out of my system before I started recording, because goodness me, I didn't sleep very well last night, and I think around about 5 o'clock I was having a sort of half dream state, half awake conversation with myself. You don't want to go for a run this morning, you need your sleep, don't go, look how horrible the trails are first thing in the morning, stay warm in bed. Yeah, naughty little anti-training demon, we've all heard that one before. Yeah, knocks him out. Here I am. It was hard getting up though really hard getting up this morning, but it's not just about physical training, is it? It's about mental training, and this is first class this morning, first class mental training. It's all good. Now, I chose Stebbing Park for this run on purpose as my 10-mile Wednesday morning loop, because it's probably the best opportunity to get some sort of hills in, and we're not talking anything of particular gradient steepness, but the hills do go on for quite a while. It takes about 4 or 5 minutes to get up them. I mean, if you were a Yorkshire man or somebody who lives in the Pennines or the Lakes, it's probably the sort of hill you do your sprint reps up, but it's the best we got, so here we go. So while I'm running up the Stebbing mountain, trying to keep my heart rate under 140, just about, a thought came to me. I'm carrying this GoPro around with me in the mornings, just to record these little footage. I know you can't see the GoPro obviously because I'm filming on it, but it occurred to me the grip of holding it and the weight pretty similar as carrying a couple of poles. So who knew carrying your GoPro would be training? All adds up, doesn't it, eh? All adds up. Halfway now. Another thought came to me. If anybody's watching this and having the thought that 12 months, starting your training 12 months before the event seems an extraordinarily long time and perhaps wholly unnecessary. I know as marathon runners we kind of start with a 12-week plan if we've already got a good base, and then a 16-week plan if we're starting from a low base. But I think that's the key, base. I mean, we're talking about an event that runs every day for 6 days and 236 miles, which is a training week even Inga Brixton would probably take 2 weeks to achieve. So yeah, you can't leave it to 4 or 5 months before. And also, it's not just a running event, there's so much technical stuff involved, and not only technical but damn dangerous stuff as well with descents and the speed you run descents, and all of that takes practice and planning. And yeah, so in truth 12 months doesn't feel long enough. If we think that I'm already 2/49ths, what's that, 4%, if my maths on a Wednesday morning run is correct, 4% of the way through already, and all I did was blink twice. Scary, man. Yeah, anyway, so what I forgot to mention on that last bit was base. This first 4, 5, 6 weeks for me, I'm lucky I'm starting from a good base of roughly 40 mile a week for my mile training, but I will need to get to being able to pretty much cope with a 55, 60 mile week quite effortlessly, and 15-20 mile runs quite effortlessly. Then I'll feel like I've got a strong foundation on which to build everything else on. At the moment, how does 50 mile a week feel? Tiring. How does getting up to do a 10 on a Wednesday morning feel? Very tiring. So hopefully after 5 weeks I'll be able to report that I'm absolutely floating these along effortlessly. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Pretty much the whole run in zone 2 or under. Becoming a master of this now. Good morning. Made it to Thursday. A little bit easier getting up this morning because I set an alarm. Normally I'm one of these people who just sort of goes to bed, roughly tells the body what time it needs to get up, and it sort of just wakes up. But that weird conversation I had with myself, nearly talking myself out of it on Wednesday morning, I think was because I knew I had to get up at a certain time and didn't want to risk falling asleep again. So slept right into the alarm went off, up like a spring chicken, out on a wet morning, just getting another 6 miles done. All good. So 2 good facts about morning runs. First of all, your legs have been warm and cosy under a duvet all night, so they're all warm, the muscles, so they're good to go, even if you're not good to go. And the second thing is that you burn off 10% more calories per mile on a morning run than you do in the evening. I don't know if that's been scientifically tested, but it's a belief I bought into a long time ago, and it serves me well. So it should serve you well as well if you're considering morning runs. Get out and do them. I'm actually becoming somebody who almost enjoys them. There we go, another one, 100% in zone 2 or under, nailing it. Good late morning, welcome to Friday. Friday was going to be a rest day, but Thursday was when I was going to do my intervals, and we had a bit of a freak storm, like hurricane winds, torrential rain. So I thought I'll bump the intervals because I'll barely be able to run into the headwind. So here I am, mile warm up, 1k, 800, 800, 400, 400, 400, 400, all off a minute jog. Not designed to be too quick, just a chance to get my legs moving a bit quicker than the zone 2 runs. There we go. All done. And rest. And rightly so, that was all tempo, zone 3, proper threshold workout. Very enjoyable. Good morning and welcome to Saturday. Saturday's long run, well, let's say longer run, shall we? Let's use correct terminology now. And it's the last run of the week as well. So I'm fully loaded. I don't need to carry half the stuff I've got in here, but I've just chucked a load of random stuff into my running vest just to get used to the weight and the ways of carrying things. Filled the water bladder up with more water than I'm going to need as well, just to get used to that. Now, on the point of running backpacks, what I've got on here, I was going to use the word cheap, but I'm just going to say inexpensive, in that it really didn't cost much, but seems to do the job. But I haven't made a decision this early on what I'm going to actually use. So if anybody's got any recommendations of a high capacity, comfortable, I do like lots of pockets, access to a lot of things around here on the jackets I have, then I'd appreciate any recommendations. I've also got a hat on because you see my head and you see the sun behind me, so any exposure to that stuff, no sun cream is going to protect you for 12-15 daylight hours. So I've got to get used to wearing a hat. Don't really like running in a hat, if I'm honest, but needs must. So that's about it. Might have some more random thoughts as the run goes on. Otherwise, roughly 2 hours or so, 15 miles, a beautiful Essex sunshine. What could be better to sign off the week? Right, we're about 6 miles in. Shall we talk a little bit about zone 2? Now, I understand the importance of zone 2. I get why it trains you to get used to a pace that will predominantly burn fat as a fuel, and therefore your carb requirement is less. I understand that it's a pace that, if you do stay in that, theoretically, as long as your fueling is good and your hydration's good, you should be able to run at that intensity for a ridiculously long time. Now, what I don't like though is obsessing and looking at my watch all the time. I'm having to do it at the moment because I want to try to make sure I really understand what pace this equates to. And I think I'm learning relatively quickly. I mean, historically I haven't gone by heart rate. I've gone by what I call run forever pace. And the way I describe run forever pace to people is, if I gave you £1,000 and put it in your left hand and I said you can keep that as long as you keep running until I say stop, but you don't know when I'll say stop, then obviously you're going to set off at a pace that's really easy and something you feel you'll be able to keep running forever at, so you can keep the £1,000. So I've generally kept that in mind for myself, but I think my challenge is, as soon as I hit a runnable flat section, my estimations of run forever pace go up slightly, and I've been glancing at the watch on this one, heading about 3 or 4 beats a minute north of zone 2, which isn't too far drift. A little bit of walking's brought it back, but I suppose that's the crux. It has to be an honest run forever pace, not an aspirational run forever pace. And I tend to run aspirational, thinking I can hold a certain pace much stronger for longer than I'm probably capable of. Hence I get a lot of cramps and fatigue in most ultras quite early on in them. So every day's a school day, all learning.
So there we go, there's the heart rate zones. Wasn't so successful at staying in zone 2 this time because I wasn't focused, but not too bad. So no spreadsheets this week, but here's the training diary. Pretty much hit everything I suggested, except for the Thursdays, moved the intervals to Friday, otherwise exactly as planned. Going into next week, we have a big race, our first cross-country race on the Saturday, so I'll do a big warm-up and a little warm down, and also I've moved the intervals to Friday because I prefer doing that than doubling up on the Thursday, and I'll still get the 50 odd miles in. So thanks for watching, till next time.